Yes, sir.
On a night jump, in the middle of nowhere,
Mhm.
there's not much light on the ground.
No, there is not.
Nothing.
No.
How do you know when you're close to the ground?
Well, we have altimeters.
Oh,
Yeah, it does glow in the dark.
oh,
Not just because it's pink, but it does actually glow in the dark. And I can read that, and it'll tell me within 250 feet below 10,000 feet. Give or take.
no flashlight?
No flashlights. Yeah.
This malfunctions and the word oops come up.
Probably wouldn't have enough time. No. We do have an automatic parachute release over here. So this fancy device is set to a certain barometric pressure for the day at a predetermined height. So say 2,500 feet. This will pull our main parachute for us. If I've gone into a flat spin and I'm unconscious and can't reach my ripcord handle, it will deploy my parachute for me. But we do, on part of our basic freefall training course, we do what we call an APR ride. Jump out of the airplane, 12,500 feet, just hang out, watch your altimeter, and wait for that thing to pop. Sometimes it doesn't pop at 2,500 feet. Sir?
Back to the night jump. You said you can drop the parachutes off 20 kilometers away from the target. Now, as I say, not much light. You have your altimeter there. What about a forest? You know, how do you see? Are you wearing night vision?
So in training, we don't jump with night vision. We jump just our naked eye as I am right now. And we do have quite a significant map brief before we get out. So we'll stand and we'll have the maps out. This is where we're getting out. Actually, that's another part I wanted to talk about. This sheet here is our high altitude release point calculator. So we'll plug in all the information, and it'll tell us how far away from the drop zone, depending on winds, air pressures, our speeds and rates of descent of whatever parachute we're using, how far away from the target we can jump from, and the rough pattern of where route we're going to take. Depending on that, then we'll know how long we've been in the air. We can look down, and I've had too many problems with it so far, but yeah. Sir?
What's your error margin from where you want to land to where you typically land?
So we aim for 50 meters. We want to land within 50 meters of our target. If we can't do that, we always land together. So regardless of where we land, we'll land together. Low man sets the pattern.
Let's say you have a large number of men and women who are going to jump, and the plane would be going at what speed?
It depends. The vertical jump will go at 130 knots.
Okay, so you're all jumping out, and the plane is moving along as you're doing that, and you're trying to get out as quickly as you can. Are you still landing in relatively the same area, or are there maneuvers that you have to do with the parachute to get it to go? Or are you using that chart, or how are you keeping all together when you get in the ground?
So on the first video that we saw, with the jump master there doing his door check, the static line round jumpers, this CT1, CR1 combination, they're a non-steerable parachute. You are at the mercy of the wind. And hopefully the pilot offset himself enough so you don't land against a building or on the runway itself. Which I've done many times. So you're going to get out and you're going to be in a long line, and hopefully you're going to land in the center of the drop zone. That's really all you're aiming for on a static line round jump. For the static line square or the free fall jumps, then we have much more control. We can crab into the wind, we can run with the wind, we can do all kinds of things to get ourselves back on our target.
So if you're deployed and you're not worried about the runway or the buildings, you're being dropped into a battlefield or wherever, those principles still apply?
All of them, yeah. All of them still apply. Because we'd like to train as close as possible to the real thing every time. Yes, sir.
altimeter, does it adjust itself, or do you have to adjust before you take off?
So we adjust it to our intended landing zone.
Okay, how do you get the pressure there?
We adjust it to feet off the map. So it's a more of a guessing game than anything else. So if we can see the drop zone, if we're on the drop zone, our intended landing target, we'll go stand there, set it to 0, and then we're good to go. If we have to go off a map and it's 350 feet above ground level where we are, then we'll set it appropriately. But it's more of an art than it is a science. Yes, sir.
When all these fellas are landing, did anybody ever get tangled up in the damn chutes, like everybody's hitting the ground at the same time?
Mm-hmm. So we do have drills in the air. You'll have multiple planes, you have multiple ship formations, and you can jump hundreds of parachutes at the same time. You can actually run into situations where you're running across somebody else's canopy while you're in the air. And we do have a drill for if you get tangled, if you pass through somebody else's suspension lines. We have drills for that. If you land and then somebody lands on top of you, or their canopy lands on top of you, sure, you can get tangled that way. All drills that we practice for.
You're saying you can go with the wind or against the wind, so when you're falling at that speed, how do you know which way the wind is?
Feel the breeze.
Regardless.
So in free fall, we can calculate how far the wind is going to push us, even under that 50 seconds or 45 seconds of free fall. And it can push us pretty significantly, 200-300 meters. Once we come under canopy, that's a lot more significant. If we just let the wind take us where it wants to take us, like I said, it could be depending on altitude and strength of the wind, it could be several kilometers. But we adjust for that, and we've already known that before we exit the aircraft.
How far away have you lost somebody when you're training them? Because
enough that we tell people to bring their cell phones with them. Where are you?
I'm in Peterborough.
Yeah, I'm just thinking you were go. No, usually what happens is, like I said, we all just land together. The instructors, we usually get back. If we see that you're going towards the swamp, well, okay, I know where you roughly went. All the candidates will go together. We'll head to our instructor strip, or our instructor target. That way we're not all in the swamp, and we let's see, what else did I bring?
Any grenades?
No, I asked if I could bring any firearms or explosives, and I got told to get that. So, unfortunately, without a military police escort, I wasn't allowed to bring anything.
Well, they've also heard about us, though, too. So.
Exactly.
You talked, when you first were giving your introduction, you had talked about working or training Afghan nationals, or there were a number of groups.
Yeah.
Who were they again?
The Afghans.
The ones that we
Okay,
see on
now-
the news.
Now, when you're training them, are you kind of suspect or a little bit leery, or are you comfortable going in or just coming out? You know, when you start to, like, are you always wondering, okay, is this guy for real, or is he someone who could be carrying an explosive and just wants to?
So there was only one time on my first tour that I was ever at odds with any of the Afghans I was working with, any of the Afghan National Army. Some of the language assistants or interpreters that we work with, some of those guys I didn't trust. But for the most part, the Afghans that I got attached to, they were already trained. And to be perfectly honest, they were training us on how to operate in their environment, and sort of kept us together briefed us on the politics of the area and how things, they knew when something was going to blow up.
Now, when you're finished training these Afghanis, could they take their place with any army in the world? Are they just as good a soldier?
I'm biased, so I'll say no, but depending on which environment we put them in, they'd be better than us.
In their own environment.
In their own environment, absolutely.
So is it paying dividends for us at the end of the day, with training
I
them?
think so,
Yeah.
for sure. It's, so one of the operations that we went into, we called it Operation Helmand Spider. So in the southern of Afghanistan, there's, obviously Afghanistan is divided into provinces. Everybody's heard of Kandahar province. Well, immediately west of Kandahar is another province called Helmand. Helmand was, I'm not sure if it still is, but it was the opium capital of the world. 90%, if Helmand was its own province, or was its own country, it would account for 90% of all the opium produced in the entire world. Wow. So it's a cash crop, and a lot of at that time we didn't. This was back in 2010, so we weren't tracking ISIS, but Taliban and other groups were controlling that cash flow, and that was funding other operations around the world that are understanding. So yes, when the operations that we did over there, we do feel that it was definitely impacting worldwide. So
When you, now you talked about the opium trade, the poppy trade, I guess, is all part of that. As you got over there and you gained more experience in the field, were you finding that this was more about activity in the drug trade as opposed to religion? You know, could you make that kind of demarcation?
it depended on it was too fine of a line. Too fine of a line to
I read a book, Christy Blatchford.
Blatchford, yeah.
15 Days.
I've read that one too.
Everybody knows 06 and 07, one of your commanders, Ian Hope, mentioned that the ANA were trained by the Americans initially, and when they were in Helmand Province, one of their firefights that Canadians were involved in, the ANA ran away.
So it really depended on the unit that we were working with. I was very lucky that our unit that I was attached to was very professional, but there definitely are very true reports of ANA desertions and not being nearly as professional as we hoped them to be.
Yeah.
But yes, that's...
Yeah, there was 14 Canadians and 4 guys got killed in that firefight, so you know them all, I'm sure.
Sure.
Going back to the video, it looked to be approximately 1 second separation jumping from that arc.
Yes, so the static line jumpers.
My calculations at 130 knots, that's going to be approximately 210 feet.
70 meters, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we aim for. But those were untrained jumpers, so on their course, and they do work on the 1 second rule. Trained jumpers, back in battalion, we will run out of the plane. We try and jump on a guy in front of us. Of course, it never happens, but that we help contribute to the crazy Canuck stereotype.
Yeah.
So, the Americans, for example, they'll hold their stack lines out in front of them, and they just walk towards the door. And as Canadians, we run at the door and throw our stack fasteners at the jump master. It's just our way of doing things.
How much closer can you get doing that running? How
Well,
much can you shrink that 70 yards down to?
Oh, when we're running off the plane, I've got my hand on Buddy's parachute in front of me. I'm pushing him out of the plane. So the last man on the stick, we call him pushman. And he's just pushing everybody.
Would you train for being under fire whilst
Under canopy?
Yeah.
Technically, it's against Geneva Conventions to attack parachutists while they're in canopy.
And have you heard of it happening?
Rumors has it that in Ukraine, the rebels in Ukraine have been under fire under canopy. It's only rumors. I can't confirm that yes or no, but definitely in World War II, guys were shot at and killed. Actually, the Colonel Nicklin in World War II, he was sort of the father of Canadian Airborne. He was shot and killed under canopy.
The best.
Yeah.
You talk about fragmentation plates. Can you replace a lot of the plates in there for different duty?
There are, yes, there are different levels, though these ones that I have right now are only training plates. So they're only good for weight, but yeah, there's different kinds of plates we can use. Don't need to take up too much time if we're...
We're just about, yeah. Any more questions, guys? Because we're gonna wrap this up a little bit.
Yes, sir.
I'd just like to say on behalf of my family, and I'm sure everyone else here, we want to thank you and your brothers and sisters for what you've done.
Thank you very much.